Hi Flosstube, my name is Danielle and my pronouns are she, her. I have decided very recently that it is important that we normalize pronouns, like knowing what people's pronouns are and what they prefer to be to go by. So I'm gonna start saying my pronouns. So again, my name is Danielle and my pronouns are she, her. And this is my channel where I talk about cross stitch primarily. Anything crafty though. Sometimes I diamond paint. I did do a little bit of diamond painting. I won't focus very much on that in this channel, but I will probably just like throw in an update picture or something like that. So today is Monday, January 31st, and y'all, it feels like it has been forever since I did a Flosstube update. And it kind of has been because December was not normal Flosstubes. December was the Holly Vlogs. And so I haven't filmed like a normal Flosstube update since the end of November. So I haven't filmed a normal Flosstube update since the end of November. I didn't do one at the end of December because you saw all my stitching in December because I was uploading, you know, very regularly and showing my progress. However, I did just want to start, well, sorry, before we get into that, thank you for everybody who is returning to the channel, and thank you for anybody who's just stumbled in. I appreciate all of y'all. I want to take a moment to let everybody know that for every comment left on a video of mine, I do donate to an animal rescue organization called Panda Paws Rescue. And so if you want to know more about that and the story behind it and why, like what my motivations are, you can check out my Flosstube number 3, which is where I kind of introduce this whole thing. And I did go ahead and make, I hadn't made a donation yet. I was like, I'm gonna upload so many videos in December. I was like, let me just wait until all of the December mayhem is over. And then I decided to wait and make my donation to Panda Paws Rescue on January 17th because that was the whole Betty White's birthday thing. So I did make, put in a screen grab here. I did make a donation, and that was representative of all the comments on the channel, like since my first video to the day that I made the donation, and I rounded up a little bit. It should have been like 18 something dollars, but I just rounded up to 20. So there is that. So like I said, if you want, I do donate 25 cents per comment up to $25 per month to Panda Paws Animal Rescue. And every month I'll put the screenshot in to show that I did that. So lifey type updates. It has been, January has been the longest month. It has been so long. It's been very stressful because my husband works in a group home for mentally disabled individuals, and his group home experienced a COVID outbreak. It started the last couple days of December. He found out about that there was one positive staff and one positive client. So they brought in like a mobile testing team and everybody had to be tested, and you could not return to work unless you got a test. And of the 33 staff and 5 clients in the home, 3 clients were positive and 19 staff were positive. Whew, that's a very, that's a lot of people. By the end of the outbreak, they are like officially not in outbreak, you know, status anymore because they had 2 weeks back to back of everybody testing negative. But by the end of it, 4 of the 5 clients got it, and 29 of the 33 staff. So my husband is one of 4 staff that did not ever test positive for COVID. I think, however, I may have gotten COVID. I'm really not entirely sure, but I spent a while with symptoms that are very, very abnormal to me, starting on the 1st of the year. So this was a couple days after he definitely had exposure. He could have been exposed before that point. We don't, know all the details, but the day he found out about it, he worked with a COVID positive client. A couple days after that, I started feeling very achy, and I alternated between feeling like I had a fever or feeling like I was breaking a fever, but I never actually had a fever. I was checking my temperature about 5 times a day, never had a fever. I also was dizzy, lightheaded. Normally if I was just sitting, I'd be fine, but if I was standing, or especially if I would, while I was walking, if I would turn my head or turn directions, I would get dizzy and just feel lightheaded, like I needed to sit down. But no, I never felt like in real danger of toppling over or anything like that. And then the other thing was I had intermittent stuffy nose congestion, and then also intermittent sore throat for several days. The dizziness persisted for 2 weeks, but the other symptoms were about 5 days. So I don't know. It's all of those things are would be exceptionally strange for me to experience. So it's like, do I call it COVID? But then there are some people who have COVID and have 0 symptoms. So, who's to say that those mild symptoms weren't it? But I'm just grateful that he never tested positive. As far as we know, he did not experience any symptoms. He often feels a little run down, and he often deals with a lot of congestion due to allergies and sinus issues. So he felt per normal. I was very concerned about, like, what do I do? Do I wear a mask in my house? Like, I don't know. It was just the strangest few days because I really didn't know what was going on. You can't find rapid tests anywhere. I mean, it's a little better now here at the end of the month, but that was at the beginning of the month. You couldn't find them anywhere. And I certainly did not feel bad enough that I should go, like, subject myself to be around people who are very sick to go get a COVID test, at my health insurance provider facility or anything like that. So I was just kind of taking it day by day. I was like, there's no reason to go get tested, I guess, and waste resources and expose myself if I'm okay enough that I don't need to be seen by a doctor or anything like that. So, but it was stressful, and I'm very grateful that we're all okay. And my dogs have been just being very extra this month. My older dog, he decided just on a dime, light switch flipped, that he did not want to sleep in the bedroom anymore. Normally the routine is my husband goes to bed and he takes the older boy dog with him to bed, and my younger girl dog stays with me. But all of a sudden he was just like not having it. He would not stay on the bed. And so I was like, well, maybe he just doesn't want to be in the bed, because he's middle-aged and he's always been a very grumpy sleeper. So I was like, well, here's a dog bed. Lay in the dog bed on the floor. Like, I don't care. But no, he did not want to be in the dog bed. He wanted to be downstairs. So For a couple of days, we thought, well, maybe for some reason he just wants to be with me. And while that's still like a behavior change, at least I could kind of understand that behavior change. But then a few days of this went by, and I went to bed earlier than my husband did. Very rare for that to happen, but I did. And he still didn't want to be in the bedroom, even though I was in bed. So my thing is, though, I don't like to leave him downstairs unsupervised. Well, like if we go out during the day for errands, he's fine. But especially if he's by himself, he has a tendency to pee on things. So he has some like insecurity territorial issues, I guess. And so I always like to keep him within my eye line. And especially when he's by himself, he has this tendency to pee on things. So I wasn't really keen on leaving him downstairs by himself. So I pulled in a crate, and I was like, he'll be fine. He's always been like a cave dweller. He likes a nice cozy spot. He used a crate for like the first year we had him, again, due to like separation anxiety, insecurity issues. And after 2 nights, he was like, nope, I'm not sleeping in this thing. I refuse. I'm not getting in that thing for any, like, you put all the treats you want in there. I'm not getting in it. So now he's down with me all the time, which I don't appreciate because he's the dog I kind of need a break from. Like, he's just, because of the peeing on things, because he barks at the TV constantly, like I need a break from him. And that time for those couple of hours while he was in bed with my husband was my break. I don't get that anymore. I have a vet appointment for him. It's in a week and a half because that's just such a drastic, behavior change that I feel like he needs to be checked out. So hopefully it's nothing, but it's strange. And then my younger dog, who's normally never a problem for us, she is a Cavalier, so she has long ears, and we feed a very wet, raw food. So we have to keep her ears out of the food. So we have these cute little things called snoods. It's basically just like a sleeve that goes over their head and it covers their ears, kind of pins their ears to their head. Y'all, this has been the dinner routine every night for 4 years. All of a sudden, again, on a dime, light switch flipped. She doesn't want to wear the thing anymore. And we were struggling with like her taking forever to eat because she kept kind of like asking to have it be taken off. And then eventually she just like devolved into running away from it. So I had to go buy a different food while I tried to figure out what to do. Something that was dry, which I'm not a fan of, but I bought like a freeze-dried food, and the freeze-dried food is expensive, y'all. It's expensive. So I bought about 2 weeks worth, and I bought a special bowl. It's called a spaniel bowl, and it actually worked. I was a little skeptical. I was like, it needs to be big enough, the mouth needs to be big enough to get her head in, her snout in, but like narrow enough to keep the ears out. And I was a little skeptical because some people use them for like beagles and other hound dog types that are much bigger than she is, being a Cavalier. So I was like, are they gonna get the, dimensions right? But it actually worked. So yay for at least solving that problem. She was able to go back to her raw, wet food, and not have to wear the snood. So other than that, life's been pretty boring. But I was extremely happy with my stitching progress this month. I feel like I'd been in kind of a a rut. Not really a rut, but just like I kept feeling underwhelmed with my progress. And I think maybe it's partially because I worked on some projects that barely had starts. So I was able to see a lot of progress. But before I get into whips, I just want to show you, I actually had 2 finishes in December after I stopped filming Holly Vlogs. So these haven't been shown yet. So after I stitched on my deer, which I had shown, I was like, I just need something fun. And so I had really wanted to start one of the Marshmallow World patterns. I'll put in maybe a picture of the chart, like the cover. There's 3 patterns. It was from a box that I got from Fangirl Fibers, and came with the silks and the Aida and a cute little board to finish it on. I haven't finished it yet, but yeah, so I stitched, and the designer is Michelle from Bendy Stitchy. So I stitched this little marshmallow buddy, and it's his little hot cocoa cup upside down mug, and it's just so cute. It was interesting, from the cover photo, this red looked brown to me, and I love brown and pink together. So I was like shocked when I pulled out the floss and it was red. It was like a winey type red, but it worked. I did not, stitching with the silks was interesting. They are very thick. This is a 14 count Aida, and you can see like that is some full, those are some full stitches, full fluffy plump stitches. It's very fluffy and thick. And while I do love good thick coverage, this borders, so for me anyway, and I know a lot of this comes down to personal preference. For me, this feels very close to using 2 DMC strands on an 18 count. And that is not my jam. So I will probably do the other 2 patterns and, you know, use the silks, but I just can't really see myself using these silks for much of anything, just because they're so plump, and I have a hard time like keeping my stitches neat. But yeah, so, but it was fun. I needed fun. The deer is very daunting to me. So yeah, that was cute. And then I was like, I can squeak in one more finish before the end of the year. And I really wanted to stitch the Gingerbread Quirky Quaker by Darling and Whimsy that I got in my Stitchy box, countdown box. I got both, so I don't remember if it was from the bash box or the regular box, but here it is. And I stitched it on a 32 count opalescent Lucana from Fortnite Fabrics. It was one of my fabric of the month fabrics. And these stitches, or this fabric, like the stitches were super tight. And again, like for me, for like a 16 count, is very close to what I like the coverage to be, but it was just very hard to get the needle through, especially when I added the white, because the white is all enclosed. But I love it, it's so cute. I love pretty much all the Quirky Quakers. I hear apparently March is gonna be a Quirky Quaker Sal. Michelle's talked about it a little bit. But yeah, so those are the 2, they were starts and finishes in December. that you hadn't seen. So the first project that I worked on in December was my project called Foxglove by Nora Corbett. I'm gonna put a picture here of what the finished project looks like. And this was one of my birthday starts that I started in September, I think this one is the one I actually started on my birthday. I did like 5 new starts over the course of a week, and I had just done a few hundred stitches on it. So now I'll put in a picture of the last time you saw it was in my whip parade, and that's what it looked like when I showed it in my whip parade. And y'all, I had a hard time putting this one down. I got very, very into it. I really almost didn't want to put it down, but I kind of finally convinced myself to. I stitched on it for 11 days-ish, and look at it. So yeah, I added 3,000 stitches. Sometimes that is my entire stitching month. I like to get at least 5,000 stitches in a month, but sometimes that would be my entire month. I did 3,000 stitches in 11 days. It's so, let me tighten it up a little bit. Yeah, I just couldn't stop. I'm so in love with it. It's so beautiful. And it is, I'm stitching it 2/1 with called for DMC, and this is the called for fabric, which is just a 32 count, either white or antique white Jobelan. And funny story, so I rolled directly from the gingerbread, which is on a Lugana. In the same night, I started working on this. And I gotta say, I don't think I'm ever gonna buy Lugana again. Stitching on the 2 fabrics in the same night really, even though I know that Fortnite fabric one was a little tight and a little, I don't know, but stitching on the 2 in the same night, I was just like, I don't think that I can ever buy Lugana again. So, which I'll maybe talk about a little bit more in when I do haul. I won't be getting Fortnite fabric anymore because they don't offer Jobelan, and I switched my Fiberlicious fabric from Lugana to Jobelan. So now all my fabric of the month clubs are Jobelan. So, but yeah, it's so freaking beautiful. I love it so much. So yeah, I spent about 11 days on that. Didn't want to put it down. Finally convinced myself to. And then I decided to work on my Drama Mama sampler by Michelle Bendy Stitchy. Here's a picture of what the finished project looks like. And then a picture of where it was last time you saw it, which again was in my whip parade, which was my first video, if you want to go back and watch that. And I did a lot on this too. And this was another birthday start, so that's why that picture of what it looked like last time isn't very much. All my birthday starts, I only spent 1 night on them. So this is what I got to. I filled my Q-snap. I actually just didn't stitch the X, only because I didn't want to cut a new length of that floss. So when I come back to this, all I have to do is stitch the X, and then I will move the Q-snap. I am stitching this on a 32 count Lugana from Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers in the colorway Cherrific or Cherryific. It was a fabric of the month, and I am stitching it with not the called for floss. Here we go. I am stitching it with, so this is a 1/4 inch 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 Unnamed cotton floss from Dyeing for Cross Stitch. And actually, let me pull this from Haul because I say it's unnamed. However, it is ridiculously similar to one that they sell called Decadence. Decadence is a little lighter, but it's very close. Yeah, it's not as close as I thought, like side by side. But you know, if you like get them apart from each other a little bit, Decadence is very close. If you go onto Dyeing for Cross Stitch's website, this floss came out of the May floss of the month, and when I was on there ordering what I just showed you, there were still packs available, but there's like 4 different colors. And then the other floss that I'm using is called Moana Manikai from Fiberlicious. And I just, even though it is kind of heavily variegated, I just double it and loop it. So, but I really, even though I'm not the biggest fan of variegation, I like how it's coming out in this. And because I'm looping it, I don't ever have to worry about the whole, you know, which end has which color, which end I have to start with, etc. So yeah, I like how it's coming out. I really love the colors. I wanted it to be loud, but this was about 1,200 stitches of progress. So that was good. Like I said, I just really didn't want to cut. I would have had to cut a new length of this and then done one strand. Didn't want to do it. And I'm being very unkind to my future self by not floss dropping those, because when I pull it out next, it's a mess of floss. So then the next project that I worked on here, this is yeah, you're gonna laugh. It is called, okay, I'm not gonna take it all the way out of the bag because it's hard to get it back in the bag, but it is called Killer Whale. There we go. If I angle it, you can see it. It is by The Stitching Studio, and the original artwork is by Sue Coleman. I picked this pattern up at a needle workshop it's a little east of Seattle when I was up there in July, and I had really wanted to find a killer whale pattern. I have a Hade that I have that's technically a whip, but that's gonna take me like 10 years. So I wanted an orca pattern to sort of like in memory, in honor of my trip there, because we got to go out whale watching and actually got to see a very, very large sort of super pod of orcas. And that had been like a dream of mine forever. So, and part of why I picked this one up when I did was because I had a couple dreams, like 2 nights back to back with orcas in them. And that happens for me frequently. Like I just feel some kind of connection to orcas and they come to me in dreams, which, you know, that's not like a common thing. Like if I dream about animals, pretty much exclusively it's orcas or my specific dogs. But I am gonna modify this pattern. I'm not gonna stitch the Native American symbol, and then I'm also cutting out a lot of this wave, because I feel like if I'm not stitching so high, I want to bring that water down a little bit. So I had only just barely, I'm going to put in a picture, I had only just barely started this pattern just because I wanted to start it and say that I, you know, had it as a whip and on the go. And so when I picked it up, I added about 50 more stitches, like a strand basically. And I decided I could no longer work on that fabric for something so big. It was beautiful fabric. I picked it because I thought that it would make it look very sort of magical, ethereal, other galaxy type vibe to it. But it is dark fabric with opalescent stitching with dark floss. And also the whole Lugana thing, I had just been through the whole Lugana thing, and I don't know all the ins and out about fabric dyeing, but I know from like hearing other things in floss tubes and stuff, the heat, when you go through a dyeing process that involves heat, that is when shrinkage occurs. And I feel like, because interestingly enough, that Drumaluma sampler is on Lugana. That Lugana is not bad at all. But the Fortnite Fabric Lugana, and now that Lugana, which was from dye in the photo that you saw, that was from dyeing for cross stitch, was so warped. Like the warp and the weft were very, like, sometimes when you're looking at it really, really super close with my magnifiers, because I have to stitch with magnifiers, it's like they're all squashed and not even. It's called even weave for a reason, right? It's supposed to be even. That was not. And between the dark color, opalescent, dark floss, squished and squashed, warp and weft, I just couldn't do it. I was like, this is 8,000 stitches that I cannot do on this fabric. So I picked a new fabric and I started over because I only had like 130 stitches into the project. So this is how far I got. I spent about a week on it, maybe 8 days. So here we are. I did this water. This color is a little problematic, I won't lie, but it does get encased with some even lighter color that I hope will pop a little bit more. It might be problematic, but that's okay because the whale is the focus anyways. So if the water isn't as visible as it could be, I'm probably okay with that. So, but I stitched across this water first until I moved the Q-snap. So I had stitched up to about as far as I could go with it. And then I moved the Q-snap later. And then I started on the whale. So this was about 2,100 stitches in like 8 days, which is really, really good for me and my stitching speed and abilities. So yeah, I'm really happy with that. I kind of hope to have this done. Oh, sorry. This is also a Lugana, and again, not that bad. It's not as bad as the Fortnite Fabric and the dyeing for cross stitch. So I plan to go through my Lugana and like with my magnifiers on and kind of really fine, you know, give it good lookovers. And I may destash some of my Lugana because if I can't stitch on it, there's no point holding on to it. But this is a 32 count Lugana from Color and Cotton in the colorway Whimsical. And it's not really coming across on camera, but there are some purpley pinky splotches. Like, do you see how it gets light right there? On camera, it's just kind of showing whitish, but it is kind of pinkish. So I had actually, when I started this pattern back in July, I was like, this is difficult. And so then I saw this and I kind of had it in the back of my head for a restart of this project, but I didn't fully commit it to that until I started working on it again. Again, stitches are very tight on this. This is 2 strands and you can barely see through it. But yeah, so But yeah, so, and then I was like, okay, kind of feeling done with that. So I've only been working on this for a couple of days. I have to take it off the scroll thingies. Should have done that before I sat down. But let me explain. So this is a project while I work. This is a project called like Gilmore Girls Sampler, and it's by a designer who is in a Facebook group called The Enablers. And they have several designers in that group, and they design usually stitch alongs. And I found out about it. I saw it posted on Instagram, and I went and joined the group for it. Hydrate. Okay. So that is how, that's how I got into the Facebook group, or found out about it, was on Instagram, went and joined the Facebook group. And it was almost done being released. And so I was like, I'm just gonna wait until it's all done. I started this project, I think, around April last year. And actually, no, it was definitely April. It was whatever the 24 hours of cross stitch marathon was that month. So like not the first one of the year, but the second one of the year. And I worked on it that whole weekend. And then I worked on it again in August for a different Gilmore Girls thing that I won't discuss because I don't discuss that particular company. And then I hadn't touched it since August. And I really, because I have 3 Gilmore Girls pieces, I really do want to focus on getting some Gilmore Girl pieces done. So I don't have a cover photo of this because it was just a chart. But I'll insert a picture of where this was when I picked it up just a few days ago. And here it is now. So what I've added from that picture, the first motif I added was this poodle, and it says "Oi" in the middle. I won't explain the references because if you know Gilmore Girls, you probably know them. And if you don't know Gilmore Girls, like, they probably won't make any sense to you. But there's "Oi" with the poodles. That was chunky. That took a couple of days. And then the next motif I added, gotta loose, was the H or Y, which really just stands for Harvard or Yale. And then I came down over here and added Babette 8 oatmeal. And then we came over here and added this 22.8 miles, and it looks like a highway sign, like destination in, you know, however many miles. And then tonight, before I filmed, I came down and I added a little alien head. And all together, that was close to 1,300 stitches. And I think I've worked on it, let me think, 1, 2, 3, only 3 days. That's really good. But yeah, and I only have, this is the full like height and the full width. So I only have, I'm more than half done. Pattern Keeper is telling me I'm at about like 62, 63% done. The only thing though is Pattern Keeper doesn't account for any back stitching. But yeah, so that is that piece. And I'm still feeling like working on this. forget where, oh yeah. I was like, where do I have to go to next? So I know how to roll it up. So I will continue to work on this for a little while before I change gears to plans, which we will discuss here momentarily. I just want to get it doesn't have to be perfect, but I just want to get them back on here because it's easier. But yeah, I love this piece so much. I love Gilmore Girls. I could watch Gilmore Girls on repeat all the time. I was doing this whole thing, like when I talked about it in my whip parade, I was doing this whole thing where I watched Gilmore Girls, and because every motif is associated to an episode, I would start the episode when I started the motif. The problem with that is that, you know, stitching takes longer than the episode. So then I would have to watch something else while I stitch the rest of it and then go back. And I just decided when I picked it up this time, I just decided to give myself a little bit more grace. My schedule has changed. My stitching time and schedule has kind of changed since I started that piece. And I just decided that if I'm going to get them done, if I'm going to work on them, I needed to be a little bit more flexible with myself. So, but I am sort of trying in the spirit to watch Gilmore Girls while I stitch on it, or at the very least, like, utmost favorite shows. So, because I stitch a lot during the day now when I'm taking care of my brother-in-law and my dogs, and it would be really difficult for me to like put the piece down and stop the show and switch over to something else. But then, oh, I picked it back up, I have to switch back over to the show. No. Whereas like, if I'm less strict with myself, I can just leave something running, you know? So that was all my stitching in January. I added it all up and it was like 7,600 stitches. That is a good month for me. I stitched almost every day. There were a few I didn't, but I stitched almost every day, and and I think also it helped. Like I said, most of those projects barely had any stitches in them. I really love seeing good visual progress, but I also only have tolerance of anywhere from 3 to 10 days for stitching on something. And I can kind of tell, all of a sudden my interest just drops and I kind of am like, I should stitch, but I don't really want to. And I think that it's not that I don't want to stitch, it's that I don't want to stitch on that project anymore. So that was when I was changing it up. I had flirted with the idea of doing Whip Go, and the closer we got to Whip Go, I was like, nope, that doesn't excite me. I don't really like structure. I think that I need as little structure as I can to still function, you know? And especially when, oh, excuse me, this chair is like cutting into me. Especially when, you know, this is your craft, this is your hobby. I don't want structure, so not doing it. I'm hardcore, sweet, stitch what I want when I want. So that brings me to plans for February. I am going to continue on Gilmore Girls for a little while because I'm still feeling it. The next motif is quite small, so I will definitely do that motif before I put it down. I almost did it before I filmed, but then I was like, it's going to take you a while to film this Flosstube because it's been so long. Haul's where it's at. Like, I'm talking about everything else, so if you don't want to stay and watch all this ridiculous haul, because it has been 2 months since there's been a haul update, then you can check out. So I am going to continue stitching on Gilmore Girls until I feel like putting it down. And then I am participating in February, #February, that my friend Jessie over at Miss Lee Pages started last year, and she's doing it again this year. And basically, February is you just stitch on a bird, or just, it doesn't even have to be the bird, just patterns with birds in it, which so many cross stitch patterns have birds in them. Or as she said in her Flosstube the other day, like if you can even if the chart doesn't have a bird, if you can somehow tell a story of why the chart relates to birds somehow for you personally, that's cool too. So last year I had a very pathetic start, a one-day start, and then never touched it again. I really did want to work on it more for February, and I don't know what distracted me, but it is called Beach Dance by Lindy Stitches, and hold please, I will show you a picture on the tablets, which is about to get some heavy duty use because I bought a lot of pattern gel. But this is super cute, and I'm kind of hoping for a finish, but it's gonna depend on my attention span. I checked Pattern Keeper and I have about 3,100 stitches to do. I decided I am not stitching the border, so the black, white, and green border, I'm not gonna stitch that. I'm just stitching the birds and the sand and the flowers. But again, this was a one-day start, and that's what I have. This is a 14 count. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't tell you what the fabric for Gilmore Girls was. This is a 16 count Fiberlicious Yummy Fibers. It was a fabric of the month. Wait, was it? I think so. This was either my first fabric, yeah, it was my first fabric of the month club from Fiberlicious. It was when I was getting Ada. I want to say it was like January or February 21. I'm trying to be good at that. Anyway, this is a Picture This Plus 14 count Ada. I have no idea the colorway. Picture This Plus just sort of like, I have so many colors of Picture This Plus that I don't really remember what the colors are. I know that that color is not showing up super well, but I think because it's gonna be enclosed kind of with the brown, you know, they have very dark brown wings, I think it's gonna be okay. I could look through my fabric and like restart this, because this is only, I don't know, it's not very many stitches, but I probably have something by now that would pop a little better. So yeah, that was my very sad start on Beach Dance. And so I'm kind of hoping, like I said, it's only 3,100 stitches for a finish. That would probably be 10, maybe 10 stitchy days for me. It's a lot of color blocking, which is nice. So I feel like I could get good progress, but we'll see if it can hold my attention that long. I have a couple of things that I would maybe like to start that have birds. The primary one being, I shall show you. The primary one being an Owl Forest embroidery. Maybe I can show you. It's an Owl Forest embroidery called Swallows. There we go. And I have this kitted up already. Need to make that a little smaller. There we go. So yeah, it's very pretty. It's not that big. And I have the flosses and linen for it. It would be my first time stitching on linen, but it's very pretty. I have just not been in a starting mood. I am very much I'm very overwhelmed with the whips that I have. I have undertaken too many medium to large projects, and I really want to focus this year on getting very, very good progress on what I already have done. I don't know how many I can actually finish this year. So if I don't finish a whole lot, I really don't want to go into another year with more. A lot of people talk about not going into the next year with more than what they had. I would really like to go into next year with less than I have right now. And seeing as how I don't know how many are realistically finishable this year, that really kind of means not starting a whole lot. So, you know, I just feel like, and then I feel like if I do finish Beach Dance, then to just like start something, it negates my finish. And like, I can't say that like I got another finish in, you know, and my whip count goes down. So I think, I mean, I don't usually put a whole lot of rules on myself, but I feel like, you know, I feel like I kind of want to finish 2 projects before I start 1. And I haven't finished anything yet this year. So there are things that I definitely feel are doable. The Drummalama sampler, very doable. The Orca is even doable, as is Foxglove. I'd like Foxglove to be done by my birthday because it was a birthday start. Drummalama was a birthday start. The Orca would be nice to be done by its 1st anniversary. I'd like to have my Gilmore Girls pieces done. So that's like 5. So, you know, if I could eke out a 6th somewhere, that would mean like starting 3 projects this year for the whole year. Unless it's something super small like a Quirky Quaker or something very, very small that I know that I can start and finish within 7 to 10 days of stitching, I'm feeling not like starting things. So those are my February plans. Gilmore Girls till I'm tired of it. Beach Dance, hopefully to a finish. And then, y'all, I have haul. I have so much haul. So if you want to check out at this point, I know the video is almost an hour, then I don't blame you. But if you want to stay and be enabled by the stuff I bought, I have a lot of patterns. I have some flosses, a lot of flosses, and fabrics to show you. Part of why I have so much, especially pattern haul, is because I forgot to show you guys, y'all. I forgot to show y'all what I purchased like in the Black Friday period when I did that November update. So there are some patterns that are that old that are new stash. So I'll just kind of I'm gonna try to go through them fairly quickly. This is Winter Wonderland by the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. They did like a 30% off sale, something like that. Okay. This I also got on Shannon Christine Designs website because I'll show you when I get to that pattern, but she released a pattern that I had to have, and then I bought some other stuff with it. So this one's called Tropical Flamingo. I am currently obsessed with flamingos, so I had to have that. Oh, that is a there we go. I bought, these aren't in the order that I thought they were gonna be in, so we'll have fun. I bought the Bendy Stitchy Designs Trimming the Tree because I got a fabric that's like screamed this pattern to me. So got that. Here's another of the Shannon Christine Designs. It's called Thankful. I had followed her patterns for a while, but I just hadn't bought, and this particular, not this one, but another one made me have to buy. So I bought a few that I'd kind of had my eye on for a while. Oh wait, I had bought because I have the Christmas baubles. Anyway, This I can show you, it's a chart, but it's a freebie. So I don't know if it's really haul, but it's from Al Forest Embroidery. I got on their site, I ordered a bunch of patterns from them too. But it's a freebie from them. Little winter church scene. I am not religious, I don't go to church, but I'm a sucker for like a winter church scene. Here's another Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery tea time. Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery Snowy the Penguin. Yeah, about like 9 or something of theirs. Cleared out my wish list. Frosted Pumpkin sealed with a snowflake. It's a kind of a companion to the penguin. Shannon Christine Designs Rustic Christmas. Really like that. It's bigger than it looks. Or I feel like it's denser than it looks. It's only 104 by 104. I can't show you this one because there's no cover to it, but it's a it's just a quote from a movie that I like. It's the musical The Greatest Showman. And so the quote is, what if we rewrote, or what if we rewrite the stars? And then there's a bunch of stars and like little single stitches, but there was no cover with that. Here is a Quirky Quaker by Darling and Onesie, The Moose. I love the Quirky Quakers. And another Quirky Quaker, Seahorse. And she designed the pattern both ways and gives you the chart for both ways, so you don't have to try to figure out, you know, you don't have to flip it yourself. Actually here, that shows both. Quirky Quaker, Ladybug. So see, I have a bunch of these that I could do in March for this Quirky Quaker stitch along Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery Nutcracker Ornament. This one. So I'm not a fan of black work, but I've had my eye on this nail polish black work pattern for a while because I do have a manicurist and a pedicurist. And so I was kind of thinking about, I didn't do it in time for this year, but I was kind of thinking for this next Christmas, not stitching the whole thing, but one each. Yeah. So I just finally decided to pull the trigger on that one. Frosted Pumpkin, Happy Valentine's Day. Or wait, it's called Happy Valentine's Day. Cute little panda with Cupid wings. Luminous Fiber Arts. This is the Gathering Snowflakes. If it'll let me, there we go. And this is the last in the Gathering series, so I had to have it because I have Gathering Berries, which I've already stitched. And there's Gathering Clovers, Gathering Acorns, and then lastly Gathering Snowflakes. Here's the Shannon Christine designs that I had to have. It is a monster of a pattern. It is 210 by 245. It is called Falling Snow. And it's actually a companion piece to another one of her designs that I also love, but I love this one a little bit more. Yeah, look at that. It's just so gorgeous. And I decided that for this piece, I want to try 20 count Aida with a single strand of sulky. because I tend to like a little bit denser coverage than most people like, I am not convinced that I will like one strand of Sulky on 18 count. Haven't tried it, but I'm not convinced that I would like it. So I actually ordered a piece of 20 count fabric from Brandy from Bestitch Me. It was in a custom order, so who knows when I'll get it. But again, I'm not gonna start this anytime soon. But it's in the colorway Sea Glass, which is very, you know, I don't think it's quite the same like teal that this, or kind of aqua minty color that this model mock-up is on, but I think that I think it'll go well. Hopefully white pops on it, because that's a lot of white. But that was the piece where I was just like, I have to have that. Shannon Christine Designs, excuse the mess, but I craft here. So true, right? Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery, Christmas morning goodies. You could personalize that stocking, which I might do, because or personalize the gift. I don't know, I'm not really a fan of the cheetah print. I think I kind of like it solid. So maybe whatever that purple color is, and leave out the, is it cheetah? No, it's Snowflakes. It kind of almost looks like a cheetah print to me when I stand back, but it's Snowflakes. But I think maybe just the purple color and that green. That must be a fancy floss because it looks kind of variegated. Hold on, let me check. It is. Okay. We're not done yet, y'all. Frosted Pumpkin Christmas goodies. Yeah, all the Shannon Christine and the Frosted Pumpkin I did around Black Friday. This is another Owl Forest embroidery freebie, but it does have a mock-up. But it's just these like angels and other than like Christmassy type motifs. I thought they would make good gifts or good little hoop ornament finishes maybe. I haven't really checked the sizes. And then I did kind of a big Owl Forest embroidery purchase of PDFs. This one is called Pansies, which is one of their newer ones. This one is one of the Red Cardinals charts. This one is called Turtle Quaker. I love turtles. That's cute. This one is called Apples of Youth. Honestly, I liked the foxes. This one is called Geese and Sunflowers. This one just like spoke to me. This one just felt very nostalgic, like 90s, like early 90s, like when everybody was decorating with like geese and ducks, you know? But it was so cute. This one is called Spring Alphabets. They actually have this with like the Russian alphabet and with the English alphabet. And I do think when I want to do this one, I will order their threads for it. Because I just really love the purples. The purples and blues together. Love it. This was a freebie, but it does have a stitched, it is called Starlings. And this one I think I would just do like from stash or pick my own colors. I don't feel like the heavily variegated is necessary in this one, but it's free on their website. Oh, I was in a live, I was in like a stream. I think I was in a Michelle Bendy stream and somebody was talking about doing this as a wedding sampler, and so I got back on there and there it was. And I was like, yep, yoink, you're free, you're really sweet and cute. This one is called Visiting a Fairy Tale, and something about it just really grabbed me. I really like the sun and the moon together. Yeah, I just thought it was really pretty. And again, I don't necessarily know that their thread pack is required. I don't see a lot of variegation, so I think that's just like match, you know, color match. Let me see, I feel like, yeah, they do give a DMC. They give a DMC conversion, so that's it. That's all the patterns. Y'all, that was a lot of patterns, so at least now I can move those to their appropriate folders. So yeah, there's been some threads. So these are some threads that I've gotten that aren't part of like any kind of clubs or anything like that. I just saw these and ordered. These three are from a company called Live and Dye LA. This one is called Hazy Shock of Winter, 25 yards. Very like silvery blue. This one is called Spicy Plum. And then this one is called Holly Jolly, and I did get 50 yards of this because, just in case, I don't know that I'll do this, but there's a Flosstuber that I watch named, her name is Carly, and her channel name is Veggie Stitches. I should know that. I shouldn't have to hesitate. But she is stitching there's a designer like Galliana cross stitch, I think, and makes like the most epic like house and bookcase and very, very intricate patterns, and they're designed monochromatic. And she's stitching her Christmas house in a green red, I can't remember because the DMC has two of these Christmas type ones, and one is a lighter one and one has a darker. I think hers might have the darker. It's like green, red, and charcoal. But I was just like, I saw this and I kind of love what she's doing, but I kind of want to watch more. And so I was like, just in case, I went with the 50 yards. I'm not normally one to buy heavily variegated anymore, as I'm about to show you some more variegated floss, but sometimes they just speak to me. So these next three are from Dyeing for Cross Stitch. I already showed you the one called Decadence. Very subtle. This one has a very subtle variegation, so I'm definitely okay with loop starting that. The next two though, on the other hand, y'all, like fibers attached to me, are very heavily variegated. This one is called Gerber, but come on, like these are my colors, like hot pink, hot orange. I really like hot neon type colors, like I find them fun. So I was like, yes, please. I don't even remember why I got on her website, but I did, and I ordered. This one's called Wild Berries. This is more of like it's almost the orange from that one, but it's kind of orangey to pink to purple. Then we have Floss of the Month clips. So I get 10 skeins from Color and Cotton. These are the December skeins. Because of course, since I've done a normal update, I have gotten 2 months worth. Okay, come out. Y'all, why won't you come out? Oh, it's wrapped around the card. Fine. Okay. Let me open both. Yeah, I don't know why they set them in 2 separate. I don't really understand their Floss of the Month Club. Like, and then when you go to their website, there's like all these different options now that I don't know. So I don't know what I get compared to everybody else. But these were for December. We have Parisian blue, kind of like a denim color. We have sweet basil, cloves, red fox, tusk. I don't know if it's gonna come through, but there's like a very it's very beigey, like white to beige. Harvest wheat, olive brown, pine tree, which is quite accurate, dusty blue, marina, that's gorgeous. And then the January color and cotton. I haven't even taken these out of there. I get like, I mean, the baggies keep them much more contained. And then I'm like, meh, I gotta open them on the Flosstube anyway, so kind of like, why bother looking at them very closely? I will look at them very closely when I film a Flosstube, but I should probably take them out so it's faster. Okay, these were again January. Monkey grass, quail, passion fruit. I like this. That's really pretty. Darker to lighter pink. Primitive plum. Hyacinth. Royal blue. Maple syrup. It's very variegated. It's like two-toned. Poseidon. Frosted spruce. Again, very two-toned. And blue bonnet. All right, so that's color and cotton. Then I decided, I was like, okay, I'm collecting color and cotton. But I feel like Classic Colorworks is called for quite frequently. Like Gentle Arts and Classic Colorworks are called for very frequently. Color and cotton, not so much. So, especially since I had dropped my Forbidden Fiber Co. Floss of the Month Club due to the, you know, we discussed that in December. I was like, I could pick up a club for Classic Colorworks. So I did that through Fat Quarter Shop. Yeah, so yeah, Fat Quarter Shop does subs. So I subbed to it in December with my first shipment came in January. And so I'm gonna start building up my classic Colorworks inventory. We have Mermaid's Fen. Camera does not like that color. Wavy Navy. Yeah. Blue Corn. Rain Shower. Oh, and it's 6. Thought it was 5 for some reason. Oh wait, is it? Yeah, 6. Tyler Boy Blue. And Snips and Snails. So that's my first shipment of Classic Colorworks. And then we have fabric. So I'm going to show these first. These are my last from Fortnite Fabric. Sorry for the crinkle. Again, I leave them in the plastic. But yeah, so these came in December. And because, well, I actually did sign up for their brown club, but then I made that decision. So when they sent the invoice, I went ahead and I messaged them back to say like, hey, actually, no, thank you. This one is called Lucy and Ricky. This is like a duo type. And it is a 32 count Lugana. Well, that's pretty. Very purple, blue, gray, gray, blue. Very pretty. That's showing pretty true. Purple, the purple's coming out a little darker on camera. Yeah, I have a fair amount of Fortnite fabric, and if all of it is how that one piece was, as long as it's not dark, I can do it. But like, I just feel like something in the dyeing process is like warping the evenness. It's not that the fabric shrinks so much, I'm sure it does. The opal is way worse. I can just see it visually, like the opal is way worse. This was their like expensive club, expensive rich club or whatever. It's called Bankrolls. 32 count opalescent Lugana. Yeah, like it's just so much worse on the opal. Very nice neutral. On camera, it's a little bit more gray. There's like a tiny bit of a purple tinge to this. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if the opal is worth it, if that's what's gonna happen, y'all. But this is, their opalescent is the only opal Lugana. Well, no, that's not true. I have a couple other pieces, I think. Okay, so that's the last of my Fortnite fabric sub. I won't be getting them anymore. Next is Fiberlicious. This was my December one. It's called Hidden Treasure. 32 count Lugana, because it was before I switched. I love her. I messaged her. I paid the invoice for January, and then I was like, I just paid my invoice. Could you switch me to Jobelin? And I was like, it doesn't have to be this month. Like, if you can't make it happen this month, that's okay. But if you can make it happen this month, let's do it. And she was like, yeah, no problem. This, it's very gold. It reads better up close than far away. Oh, not bad, not bad. Not too much modeling. Even though dark, or even though even weave doesn't take dye as nicely, I'm not one for heavy modeling anyway. So I kind of like that about even weave. I don't like a lot of modeling. It just doesn't call to me. So this was my first Jobelin that I got. It is called a Very Periwinkle 32 count Jobelin, fat quarter. It's such a pretty blue. I pulled this out for the orca pattern. I pulled out my blues because I was feeling like ocean, sky, you know, but I went with that light color and cotton. Yeah, very pretty. I was happy to find though that her Jobelin wasn't, or I mean her Lugana wasn't too bad to stitch on, but okay, y'all, why do they all fold their fabrics differently? Like, each one of them folds their fabrics differently. Next we have Bestitch Me, December and January. Y'all, I told you, I had all the haul. That's what the video is gonna be called. Again, crinkly crinkle. Wait. Yeah, this was December. Okay. The bag split. I'm glad I don't really care about keeping the bags. So this one is called It's a Mystery. I don't know. The floss was called Mystery too. I don't know if that was intentional or if she just like didn't name it or what. But it's very purplish gray. The lighter parts are kind of bluish gray. I try to move it around, hoping that maybe eventually the camera will catch it in a good light. But yeah, and I get 32 count Jobelin from her. Originally I signed up with Lugana from Fiberlicious and Jobelin from her so that I could sort of like get a mix of both. But I had stitched on it a little bit, but just for like a Quirky Quaker, not a lot. But as I was stitching on the Foxglove, which is on Jobelin, love it. Just absolutely love it. I don't want to stitch on Lugana. This one is called Lunar. And I feel like you get more, well, at least with Bestitch Me, you get the 18 by 34, because if something about how Jobelin comes, like the sizing of it. This is a really good neutral. Confession time, that order that I did from Bestitch Me is very big. After I decided that I needed the Jobelin, I was like, I need to up my stash of Jobelin. So I got on her website and ordered a bunch of mostly neutrals, a couple fun colors, but mostly neutrals. Yep, this is just a very lovely gray. I wouldn't put white on this. I don't think white would show up very well. I think I kind of want to do that fox. You know the fox everybody is doing, from Cottage Garden Sampling. And this might be a good one for that because the white is all enclosed by the fox. So that would be okay. Okay. Those were December's. These are January's. I knew this was an 1.5-hour video, which was how I knew. I was like, I have 3 hours. Setting up, filming, putting everything away is gonna be 2 hours. Yeah. This one is called Periwinkle. Maybe if I only do 1/3 of it, it'll be easier to put away. I didn't have this one when I went to do the restart, so this might have been a nice one for the orca, but I didn't have it. The color in Cotton Look on it isn't too bad, but it's a little squashed too, and very tight stitches. And this one is called Coconut Shell. I like this neutral too. I'm glad these have been a little bit more neutral. Sometimes her colors can be very bright, and I definitely feel like I need more neutral Jobelan. So it was nice to get a couple months of a little bit more neutrals. Also, I find she tends to gravitate towards like blues and gray neutrals, not as many browns, so that's good. All right, that's it, y'all. I told you the haul was going to be absurd, and it was. I'm so happy I can finally put all this stuff away. I almost didn't save it all, you know, because I was just like, it's been so long. But then I was like, no. I was like, I'll save it. People can just duck out if they don't want to see it. Okay, so that is it. I wanted to film a kitted up parade in January, since I wasn't gonna have like a December wrap-up video, but I never got to it, and I'm a little scared, honestly, to pull out my kitted stuff, just because I don't want that overwhelming feeling of I want to start everything. So maybe not. But other than that, like I said, I'm gonna stitch on Gilmore Girls and Beach Dance, and then we'll see where the month takes me from there. And I will film another wrap-up video for you at the end of February. So again, if you want to leave a comment below, all the comments I do donate the 25 cents per comment, up to $25 per month, to Panda Paws Animal Rescue. And yeah, that's it. I hope that you are having a good day and that you're stitching and doing all the things, and I will see you all soon. Bye.